Good memories, snapshots of a London that no longer exists. Hello, I'm George, and you're on the Retro Fame Chronicles channel. Welcome. Have you ever stopped to imagine what London was like decades ago? A city marked by elegant carriages, peaceful squares, and the charming movement of trams. Very different from the modern metropolis we see today. In this video, we'll open a window to the past and explore a London full of history, charm, and nostalgia. Get ready to relive amazing moments and discover how the London we know began its transformation into the vibrant and cosmopolitan capital we see today. If you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss any content. Today, we'll explore the memories captured in rare photos of London, discover what the streets, buildings, and customs of a city that has always known how to reinvent itself were like. Each image tells a story and brings out the soul of London. Get ready for a journey through time. Look at this photo from 1930. Here, a quiet street where carts and the first cars share space with pedestrians. London was still breathing the charm of a calmer time, but it was already beginning to modernize. Trafalgar Square in the 1950s, with its famous Nelson's column. The square was much less crowded compared to today, when it has become a vibrant meeting point. London back then was a place of respite, where the grand avenues still had areas of tranquility. Now, an image of London Bridge from the early 20th century. Still without the iconic modern skyscraper in the background, the bridge was the vital link between the banks of the Thames, with its characteristic carriages and boats crossing the waters. What a difference from the modern London Bridge we know today. Big Ben in 1935, still without the massive influx of tourists we see today. The surrounding area, calm with few cars, shows a much more relaxed London, contrasting with the frenetic energy of today. Now let's take a look at Covent Garden in the 1940s. Back then, the square and the surrounding market were much simpler. Street stalls were common, and Londoners would buy fruits, vegetables, and other goods directly from the vendors. Family-run, shops dominated the scene, and local commerce was still the heart of the city. Covent Garden was a place of socializing, where the sounds of conversations and the clatter of carriages were part of the backdrop. Today, it's an area filled with tourists, street performers, and international brand stores. But back then, it was a much quieter and more laid-back meeting spot. Here we have a photo of the Strand, one of the oldest streets in London, dating back to the 1920s. The street, famous for its theatres and hotels, was already showing signs of the growth and prosperity to come. The sidewalks were filled with pedestrians and cars were still few, leaving space for the charm of London to stand out. The contrast between the old and the new is evident in every detail of this scene. Piccadilly Circus in the 1930s shows us a calmer London. Although it was one of the busiest squares in the city, the image reveals a more spacious area with fewer cars, a stark contrast to the tourist-filled, traffic-heavy version we see today. It was a time when the advertising signs were still discreet, and the area seemed almost empty compared to the current urban chaos. In the 1950s, St. Paul's Cathedral still dominated the London skyline, symbolizing strength and stability. After the devastation of World War II, the cathedral became an icon of resilience. As the city was rebuilding, the cathedral remained, a beacon of hope in a calmer and more introspective London. This period of recovery was reflected in the surrounding landscape, which still carried a slower pace before the bustle of the following decades. In the 1960s, Regent's Park was the perfect place for a peaceful retreat. Families strolling through the gardens and enjoying the outdoors showcased a calmer London before the rapid modernization that would follow. The park, one of the largest in London, offered a vast green space in the heart of the city, maintaining its classic beauty, still untouched by the changes that were coming. Even today, Regent's Park remains a place that blends history and serenity. In 1930, Big Ben was already one of London's major attractions, with its imposing clock and tower dominating the skyline. The image captured during this period transports us to a London in the midst of transition, still deeply connected to its imperial history, but already showing signs of modernity. Big Ben, a symbol not only of the city but of all of England, kept time for the days and nights of a London that, even amid the challenges of the time, never stopped moving. In a scene even calmer than today's, the clock represented the precision and continuity of a city in constant adaptation. The tranquility of the streets around it contrasted with the modernization beginning to be felt in other neighborhoods, paving the way for the future. Piccadilly Circus in the 1940s was already a vibrant center of energy, and this image captures the essence of a resilient and lively London, even during World War II. Despite the impact of the bombings, Piccadilly Circus never lost its importance. As a meeting and entertainment hub, the lights of the billboards, though more subdued due to the war, still brought a unique glow, reflecting the city's indomitable spirit. The movement of people, even in difficult times, showed a city that never stopped. This was the beating heart of London, where different social classes and cultures met, and the city centre remained a symbol of resistance, evolving over the decades to become one of the most recognisable places in the world. The energy of Piccadilly Circus in the 1940s reflects the determination of Londoners to keep living, even in the face of the challenges imposed by the war.